So as South Africa strives to recover from the negative impact of COVID-19, we turn our focus to the importance of infrastructure development in driving economic growth, not only here at home, but for the rest of the continent. We're joined now by Absa Corporate Senior Banker Lulama Tlakula. Thank you very much, ma'am, for availing yourself this afternoon. When we talk about infrastructure and the continent, we cannot have the conversation outside the African Continental Free Trade Area Act, which is said to boost economic growth, improve intra-Africa trade. Just where are we as a continent where infrastructure development is concerned?
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me. I think we definitely cannot underestimate the backlog in infrastructure development that exists on the South African continent. And that has really driven the South African government's drive towards increased focus on infrastructure development in order to address our infrastructure needs as a continent.
Let's take a look at South Africa. You speak of the next 12 months presenting an ideal opportunity to reimagine the South African infrastructure landscape. How?
Well, as I said, my sense is that, and on us as a bank, is that we definitely need to use infrastructure as a catalyst to bolster economic development. We're all aware of the lack of employment as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the need for improving all our infrastructure from electricity to roads to rail. And so on the back of industrialization, if we can use that as a catalyst to bolster the economy as well as increase and improve our infrastructure, we believe that's something that can be a key focus for our country. Also bearing in mind that it's definitely not a 12-month game. It's a long-term game that's going to take place in order to create those industries, build those economies, and ultimately create the jobs and build the infrastructure that's so necessary in our country.
If we take a look at a country like South Africa, we've got what they call the special economic zones. What is the role of business in, cooperating or collaborating with government, if you will?
Yes, and the special economic zones are a key indicator of the success of the collaboration between both the private sector and the government, whereby specifically in the automotive industry, in special areas have been created whereby there's local manufacturing and job creation, but also the export of our cars and goods to other economies. And so the drive for economic development and specifically industrialization doesn't merely lie in terms of policy creation, because while policies can be created, it's a collaboration between both the private sector and the public sector to make sure that the markets are there for the businesses to ultimately be able to sell their goods and grow the economy.
You've got interventions like the DTI's Black Industrialist scheme, which has attracted some criticism. Your assessment of its impact so far?
It's certainly early days in terms of the Black Industrialist scheme. While we note it as a catalyst and providing the finances to create the industrialists, it's only the starting block of the process. Because once those industries are created, we need and require the concessions, the markets, the demand for the goods, as well as in order to build those economies. So while we've seen the government providing the 50 million that's provided to the industrialists, I believe that it's only the start of the process. It's a broader process is required in order to ensure that those businesses are sustainable and have long-term prospects.
As we mark 2 years of COVID-19, being well within the country, your assessment in terms of, you speak of industrialization, you speak of infrastructure development, not just here, but throughout the continent. Your assessment of how we have fared, especially when it comes to the fact that we'd had to even import, in the beginning, that is, masks, we'd had to import PPE. There was the scramble for vaccines. So in terms of capacitating ourselves and getting ourselves ready for the next whatever it is that may hit us.
And you're spot on, because when things such as the pandemic that has hit us strike countries, that's when we realize that the need for localization and creating local economies is so paramount. You know, we obviously live in a globalized world where we can rely on imports, exports, and the whole functioning global economy. But that being said, we also need to facilitate and fast track local economies. And you know, while our research and developments in terms of finding the various different strains of the COVID-19 virus were really exemplary globally, we definitely saw the gap in terms of our local manufacturing, whereby we're highly reliant on imports from the rest of the world. And so hence my assertion that industrialization is key in order to make sure that we're sustainable as a country and globally as an economy.
Lulama Tlakula is Senior Banker at Absa Corporate. Thank you for availing yourself this afternoon.